Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks book discussion for September. Tonight, we are going to be discussing The Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose. My name is Chloe. You're on my channel. And I am here with Kathleen from For the Love of Books. We missed you guys last month, so we are ready to discuss The Perfect Marriage tonight. So, if you've never been to one of our live shows before, the way that it works is for the first couple of minutes, we're going to be doing like a little spoiler free discussion of our just general thoughts and our rating. And then we are going to go into more of a spoiler discussion for the next 30 to 45 minutes. So, Kat, if you want to go ahead and start.
Sure. Yes. So this this book, I've had it for a while. I actually have the collector's edition. I've read other books by Geneva Rose and I really enjoyed it. I know she writes a variety of books, not just thrillers. It's more a thriller with some romance thrown in. But we don't like the romance here because he basically cheats on his wife. But the story is that basically this guy's mistress turns up dead and he's the main suspect, and now his wife, his big shot lawyer wife, has to defend him from the allegations that he killed his mistress. It was really interesting. I liked this book because it was easy to read. It was really easy to follow along. There are several characters in this book, and it jumps back between the POV of the wife and the POV of the husband. It's super easy to follow. I know Chloe read this book really, really fast, so I think less than a day. I finished this book in like 2-ish days. But again, it was really easy to follow the storyline. And I listened as well as read the book. So the narrator is actually really good. There were two, I think it was, I don't know if there was more than two, but there was two different narrators, obviously one for the wife and one for the husband. And I think they did a great job. And I enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars.
So this is my second Geneva Rose book. The first one that I'd read was You Shouldn't Have Come Here, which was just okay. I think I give it like a 3 or a 3.5. But this one I gave 4 stars. Kat is right. I did crush this book in like a day and a half. And I was listening to it. The male narrator is Teddy Hamilton, who is one of my favorite narrators for romance books. And I believe he narrated the other book that I read by her as well. I'm not a thriller girly overall. There are some that I really like, but a lot of them always fall flat for me. But this one, it was pretty good out of the ones that I've read from Geneva Rose before. I am looking forward to the sequel to this one and kind of discussion on like what that book is more in spoilers because it's more spoiler territory for some stuff that happens in this first book. But I was enjoying it the entire time that I was reading it. There were some surprising twists for me personally because I'm not somebody who sees like obvious twists coming. Like if there's a twist, it most likely surprises me. So yeah, 4 stars. And we can go into more spoiler territory right now because then I can kind of bounce off of what I was thinking here. So we're just going to go right into the courtroom drama towards the end of the book because right as we're about to get the verdict, the chapter ends and it jumps to 11 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when my other friend was reading this book and she got to that part and she's like, "What? That is unacceptable." Because my understanding, the sequel is The Perfect Divorce. And I thought that this first book was going to be all about this, and the second one was going to be about her divorcing him. Not that she was getting remarried.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The revelation that it was her all along didn't surprise
Right.
me. as much as him being found guilty. Like, I turned that chapter and they started talking about 10, 11 years later, and it's the day of his execution. I was genuinely so surprised, and I don't even know why it took me back. Like, I don't know why it took me by so it might be because there is a sequel called The Perfect Divorce, and I guess maybe that was in the back of my head, that the fact that there is a sequel, and we might see this guy in the sequel alive,
That's what I was thinking.
but I don't know why that took me by surprise, even more so than the fact that she was the one behind it all. But yeah, I agree with you that that was definitely a plot twist.
Have you read any other Geneva Rose books?
I did read the one where you mentioned You Shouldn't Have
Okay.
Come Here.
Okay.
I don't remember if I read anybody.
So since you've read that one, I'm going to talk about this. This is going to be a brief spoiler for You Shouldn't Have Come Here. The fact that I've read 2 books by this author where the main female character has been the one who did it, I feel like there's a trend. Is there going to be a trend in her other books? This is what I want to know.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
Like, I also just recently read a Riley Sager book, my first one, and my friend who has read other Riley Sager books said that he does a lot of like supernatural elements in it, but that it doesn't end up turning out to be really supernatural.
Yeah, the first book that I read by him, I forgot which one it was. I don't remember which one it was. That
Mhm.
one, I did not like that one as much. I think I gave it a 2 or 3 stars on that one, and that's because it had the supernatural element at the end, and I was like, "This is such a cop out. Why is there a supernatural element in the end to this really good book?" It was like a great book up until that ending. I felt like it was such a cop out. But I have read other books by him, and the supernatural element on those are pretty much almost non-existent. Like, there is, but that's because the character's mind is playing games with them, not necessarily that there
Mm,
is a supernatural element.
an unreliable narrator.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
but yeah. But yeah, I agree. He does play into that into his books, especially in the end for like the little plot twist.
So now we'll need to read more Geneva Rose books to find out if she has the trend of her
Yeah.
female characters
And I
being the
think
one.
I'm pretty sure she's written romance books too, but
Yes,
I'm not sure.
there was a contemporary that just came out like a couple months ago, and she has a zombie one coming out like this month or within the next few weeks, that I got on like Kindle First Reads.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She also has that book that looks like a VHS tape.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I might read that. My thing with, and this doesn't have to do with this book, but it's just thrillers in general,
Sorry.
is um I like I remember coming out of your slump, you got really into thrillers, and now that's the majority of what you read. Whereas for me, I read them because you make me read them. um,
I
but there
mean,
was that. I feel like the peak thriller for me that we read will always be The One by
yeah.
John Mars.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think he's the one who got me to reading some, because he was one of the first, like when I was coming out of my slump, he was one of the first books that I got back into reading, and
Yeah.
it was so good that I just wanted to read more by him, and then eventually got over my slump.
And honestly, I feel like that's my comp is anytime I pick up a thriller, I'm like, is this going to be as good as The One? And I haven't read like the only books I've ever read by John Mars are the near future dystopians, or near future thrillers. I haven't read any of his other stuff. I've
Yeah.
only read that little series.
Yeah.
So anyway, where do we want to start with The Perfect Marriage?
Um, I'm not okay. One thing I will mention, I thought that in the end, I thought that if she was gonna, me thinking that the husband was gonna live, and that obviously she was gonna divorce him,
Mhm.
I thought that she was gonna get with the sheriff, because
Yeah.
they started off, obviously we don't know anything about the ending, but they started off as very volatile relationship, but then they started working together, and he started being nice to her,
Mhm.
and I thought we were gonna end up with some crazy romance that I was going to fully support between the sheriff and the lawyer, and so I was behind it, and then that's not the way it went. But I genuinely thought that in the end we were going to see like her having a relationship with the sheriff.
The thing with the person who was killed, whose name I can't even remember now,
Kelly.
Kelly. I was like, it's something like Nancy or something like that. But with Kelly, the thing is, she was so suspicious because everything surrounding her life of like, that's not even her real name. She was accused of killing her husband under her real name. There was a lot of sus going on.
Yeah.
And then the person that what's the main character's name again? I can't remember.
Sarah.
The person that Sarah ends up getting together with in the epilogue, she's like, or he's like the brother of the husband that was killed. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of lines crossing here.
I don't remember. Okay. So I don't remember why he was so set on revenge, because I remember they're finding out that Kelly had some relationship problems, and I remember reading about that she had accused her old husband of abusing her, and I was thinking, oh, maybe that's why she snapped, killed him, and then took on a new identity. But if he was I mean, I guess we love our family, but if the brother was abusive, why would this guy be so set on revenge
That's
against
true.
the wife? Because that's the only reason he got involved, because he wanted revenge for his brother.
Yeah. There's just so many lines crossing. And also when it was suspected of being Anne, very briefly, the assistant. First of all, I knew Anne was guilty of something just by when Sarah was like, hell, you could have killed her, Anne. And the reaction that she had, I was like, but at the same time, I was like, that's so obvious. Like, that's such a red herring situation. And then also, while I was listening to this, the husband's name, or the husband, whatever his name is, what irritated me the most is like, dude, I get it. You're stressed out. You're being accused of murder. But you have it so easy right now to just stay in the house. Your mother is willing to bring you every little teeny little thing that you could want. Your wife is doing the best that she can to help solve your case so you don't get killed. But like, you recognize for the briefest second that the handwriting matches Anne's, and all of a sudden you are just out the door. And I'm like, you're doing this to yourself. You're making it harder.
Yeah. His name is Adam. But yeah, I agree. I was like, the worst thing you could possibly do is run away.
Exactly. Like, you look guilty.
And he still got caught.
Yeah.
And nothing, like, I feel like nothing of value got done in that brief stint that he ran away. Like, I don't feel like anything really important happened.
Ridiculous. The little reporter, Rebecca, maybe. Who was she again? Because she wasn't even really a reporter, right? Or maybe something was fishy with her.
Yeah, she pretended to be a reporter to Adam, but she was a private investigator. And I think she was working with Sarah, but I don't quite remember if that was true or not. But yeah, she ended up being like a private investigator, not a real reporter.
The thing that I really liked about this book too, and it has nothing to do with like the writing style or the stylistic or even the plot, is how short the chapters were.
Yeah.
Because it makes it go by faster.
And I think that led to the reading so fast of it, because we got through this book really, really fast.
I have been like no movement, just sitting at my dining room table, listening to books and building Legos for like the past week. I think yesterday was like the first day all week that I haven't finished something. So I want to read the sequel.
And the sequel is really, really short, by the way.
Is
It's
it? I have it
probably,
on hold at the library.
yeah, it's really short.
And then Libby was like, "Oh, your hold is ready," and I was like, "I'm not ready for it because I didn't want to read it and like say something here that's a spoiler." Um, but where was I going with that? I don't know. I'm very excited. There are some thrillers that I am all about, and then there's others where it's like pulling teeth to get me to read it or finish it. What else we want to talk about? We've been talking for 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about which was the ending about
So
him being sentenced to death was kind of like a surprise for me.
I didn't end up taking notes on this one because I ran out of pages in my like book review journal that I've been writing stuff in. So I don't have any notes. I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna wing it.
Yeah. We always wing it.
Yeah. What do we think the sequel is going to be about without reading the synopsis?
I have no idea. I'm assuming I always thought it was gonna be, the drama between the two of them after the trial, but clearly not.
So she's divorcing this guy. Okay. Why? Who is she? Is she going to kill him? Is she going to frame him for something? What is she going to do now that we know that she killed?
Oh, did you pick up on the ending too, where she admits that she killed her mom?
Yes. Okay. That one too kind of just threw me for a loop as well. Because when his mom was like being such an ass to her, and then we found out why her mom struggled, I was just like, oh, okay. And then at the end when she said she's like, I did it, and I'm like, what?
I'm like, I'm
like, girl.
I was like, okay, I wanted to know more, but you threw it right at the end with like one page left. I'm like, okay.
Maybe we'll get more from that in the sequel as well.
Because they were talking about like the fact that she already had a daughter with the dude, with that guy, and then she started talking about her mom, and I'm like, Jesus, what is happening?
We need answers. Hopefully we get more in the sequel. Or like, that's what I was doing. I was going on Libby to see how long it is. And then I got distracted because one of my holds was ready. Okay, Libby does like the closest, the next closest hour when it says how long it is. So it says it's 9 hours. So it's probably like 8.5 or something like that. Oh, wow. It has a lot of narrators though.
Oh, really? Okay.
One, two. Okay, so first it just says various narrators, but then it lists some names, and there's 6 narrators so far. Okay, and I was wrong. It's not okay. It's not Teddy Hamilton that narrates it. It's Andrew Eden. However, I do think Andrew Eden is another name that Teddy Hamilton narrates under. That might actually be his real name. Andrew Eden, Teddy Hamilton. Yeah, they're the same person. Okay. I've been reading a lot of or listening to a lot of books recently that are also narrated by Teddy, so I'm like, I know that voice. Let's see. What else can we talk about with this one? I'm trying to like think back because I'm like, I read so much stuff between then and now.
I mean, we touched upon the major points. I mean,
we have a rough time doing book club.
I never make notes. I just go along with what you say, and then
Desiree was our conversation holder. She was the glue that kept us together. I don't know. There's just
it's because I usually remember the major points, and then once we get talking about that, I was like, I don't remember any of the minor details.
I don't know. There's so much wild stuff that happened in this book, and it was a ride, and I was here for it. I'm excited for the sequel. I am interested in reading other stuff from Jeneva Rose. The last one that I read by her was not good, but I am interested in reading like the one that looks like the VHS tape. And actually, let me just pull up her Goodreads and see what else there is. Does she write YA? Does she have YA thrillers too, or are they all adult?
I have no idea.
I feel like the VHS tape is YA. Oh yeah, One of Us is Dead. That one I think I have in the little free library stack. Okay, she doesn't actually have that many books out. It just feels like she does. Um, hmm. I don't know. So, Home is Where the Bodies Are. That is,
Oh, that's the VHS tape one.
yeah. It says it's adult, so I might read that one as well.
I did read it, but I don't remember it anymore.
I remember when that book came out, and it looked really cool because
Yeah.
everybody was talking about the VHS tape thing. Okay, yeah, The Perfect Divorce is the one that just recently came out. The Girl I Was, that's her contemporary, I think. It says contemporary, magical realism, time travel. And then Dating After the End of the World is the zombie one that comes out on October 1st.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a romance horror with zombies, post-apocalyptic. I don't like zombies. Like, my mom loves World War Z. I hate it.
Oh, I love that movie too.
My mom also loves The Walking Dead. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't think there's anything with zombies that I've really ever liked. I had a bad dream last night about zombies though. Oh, I like The Last of Us. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
However, it's too real because of the cordyceps thing.
That's
Bill and I were having a conversation about that yesterday.
okay. I guess we could go into final thoughts.
21 minutes. Good job. You can go ahead.
Okay. All right. The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. It is about a lady who's defending her husband after um he became the main suspect on his mistress's murder. There's a lot of twists. The main ones are in the back. Obviously, we already talked about it. If you're here watching this to the end, I'm sorry if we spoiled you, but we warned. But it was a good read. It was fast read. Things I wish it was more fleshed out. Maybe that's why I took out a star. Especially the ending. They uh just kind of threw you these plot twists, and I'm like, can I see more? Can I get more details? But I did enjoy it. I think it was a fun read. I read this in 2.5 days. So it was a quick and easy read. It was easy to follow. The audiobook was also very good because there were two distinct voices, especially because this is two POVs. But I did give this 2 stars, and I will read the sequel. I already have the sequel, and it's a shorter book compared to this one. I think this one's like 400 pages. The sequel is like 3-ish something.
The sequel is 288 pages.
Well, there you go.
I was just about to tell you that. I was like, that's so short.
Yeah, it's a pretty short sequel, so if you read this one fast, you'll definitely read the other one fast. So yeah, 4 stars. I like it. I like Geneva Rose's books. I have read other books by her. I haven't loved them all, but I enjoy her books because I think it's an easy story to follow.
Can you show the edges of your collector's edition? Sprayed edges. That's nice. I don't know if I would ever want to own it, but that's nice. Okay, I was looking at stuff for The Perfect Divorce. Overall, 4 stars. It's I have been interested in it since it's gotten popular, but I don't know if it's something I ever would have picked up on my own if not for book club. 4 stars, definitely better than the other one that I read by her. You Shouldn't Have Come Here. And I'm looking forward to the sequel. I am gonna have it on hold and read it ASAP. So I'm very excited to find out what happens in there. Let's see what's going on next month in October. Well, first of all, you can follow us on Instagram at Booktube Chicks for all the live show updates and different things that we're doing, because we don't have dates for everything yet. So sometime in October, Pages and Pals is going to happen over on Kat's channel, which is linked below. Pages and Pals is a monthly live read-in where we just come on and for like an hour read whatever we're currently reading with friends. We've been doing that for the past couple of years. Here's Desiree, our other Booktube chick, who joins us for Pages and Pals as well. So where'd you go?
Sorry. I was trying to read her comments and I clicked out.
So hopefully we'll have a date for Pages and Pals by the end of the month, and we'll post that on Instagram. For book club next month, we're going to be reading Sleep Like Death by Callan Bayron, and I am so excited to read this. Callan Bayron has written a lot of different things, but the one that stands out for me is Cinderella is Dead, which is her Cinderella retelling, and it was so good when I read it like 5 years ago, that I was so excited to find out she had a Snow White retelling coming out. So I'm very excited to read this one with you. It's been a minute since I've read a retelling or a fantasy. So I am excited. And our live discussion for this one is going to be on Sunday, October 26th at 7 p.m. on this channel. So is this thrillerish, Desiree? I need clarification.
I don't think that's thriller. Isn't it fantasy?
This is more like this is more like a fantasy retelling. So
yeah,
Cinderella is Dead is set in a world where the original Cinderella died, but her legacy lives on, and they celebrate her like every year with the ball and stuff. It's been a while since I read it. But it's more fantasy. So I anticipate the same from this. Let's see. Yeah, this is more fantasy. Oh, it's set in the same world as Cinderella is Dead. I didn't know that. I'm just gonna read the synopsis here. Let's read the synopsis. Okay. Princess Eve was raised with one purpose: to destroy the night. Far too many generations of Queen's Bridge have been terrorized by this evil sorcerer's trickery. Eve's own unique magic, the ability to conjure weapons from nature, makes her a worthy adversary. As she approaches her 17th birthday, Eve is ready to battle, but her mother, Queen Regina, has been acting bizarrely, talking to a strange mirror alone every night. Then a young man claiming to be the night's messenger appears and shares a shocking truth about Eve's past. Unsure of who to trust, Eve must find the courage to do what she's always done, fight. But will it be enough to save her family and her queendom? And then at the bottom it says, Callan Bayron returns to the world of her groundbreaking debut, Cinderella is Dead, with this, it says it's a standalone, so you don't have to read Cinderella is Dead, that's good. With this captivating standalone reimagining of Snow White's tale. I'm so excited. And then, so that's coming up for October. And then also, in the world of the Booktube Chicks, it is going to be a new quarter for the Quarterly Romance Book Club that I co-host with Desiree. And there's our final book for the year. We're going to be reading For the Hope of It All by Isla Sikorsky. This is the first in a small town trilogy, a small town romance trilogy. I believe you can read each one on its own. But I am very excited to pick this up. This author has become very popular in the indie world. I've seen her around a lot in the Orlando area and at different events. So I'm very excited to finally read this book. But that's what's coming up for the Booktube Chicks. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Booktube Chicks for all the announcements and for the date for Pages and Pals, since we don't have that date yet. But that is all we have for you all today. So thank you all so much for watching. We hope you all enjoyed it. And we will see you all next month. Bye.
Bye.